Hi guys, I'm Dimitri with XYZ Crete, and I've recently become obsessed with dice, specifically gemstone dice. There's Amethyst, Tiger's Eye, Turquoise, and almost every other gemstone you can imagine. Except for one, diamonds. For some reason, I couldn't find a manufacturer that's using diamonds in their dice. So, I made a diamond D20.
I start this project off by using my trusty shovel to dig for diamonds. I don't know about you guys, but my backyard diamond mines were completely empty and I didn't find any diamonds. It's not all bad though, because I did find this ancient laptop that I could use to just buy the diamonds online. Inside this super heavy box is 10 carats of industrial grade diamonds. Wait, is that it?
So, I don't know about you guys, but I've always pictured a carat as being really heavy. But as it turns out, 1 carat is 0.2 grams, which means that all 10 carats in this jar weigh roughly the same as these 2 paper clips.
I was a little skeptical with the amount of diamonds I received, so I decided to weigh them just to double check everything. I zeroed out the scale and then added the diamonds. If this is indeed 10 carats, the display should show 2 grams. And sure enough, 2 grams right on the dot.
So the weight checks out, which is good, but I am genuinely shocked how small of an amount this is, and because there's so few diamonds, I have to change my plans up a bit.
The original plan was to use this large mold, cram it full of diamonds, and set them using a casting resin, but I've had to switch to a smaller mold. Even with the smaller mold, the diamonds still only fill it about halfway up. Allow me to demonstrate what would happen if I tried to cast the diamonds as is. I mixed up a small batch of the casting resin and added rocks to act as the diamonds. As you can see, with nothing to support them, the rocks slowly sink to the bottom.
So, I definitely don't want this happening to my diamonds. So, instead of one large pour, I'll be doing several small layered pours. I'm also going to have to change out the resin I use, as typical casting resins can take hours to cure between pours.
To get around this issue, I'll be using TotalBoat's UV resin, which cures in just minutes when exposed to UV light, saving me countless hours.
So this might be a little overkill, but my shop lets in a ton of natural sunlight, and because this is UV reactive, the entire time I'm working with it, I'll be working in the dark.
With the sunlight gone, I can finally start to cast the dice. I start by adding a thin layer of UV resin. With the aid of a tiny spoon, I sprinkle in some diamonds. Then, I start my rotation table. And finally, I blast it with UV light to cure the resin. I built the dice up layer by layer, essentially turning myself into a human 3D printer. The rotation table I'm using isn't strictly necessary, but it does help me ensure that the dice gets cured on all sides. And I'll go ahead and leave a link to it as well as all the other tools and materials I used down in the description below. I repeat this process until I get to the last layer, at which point I add the lid. Unfortunately, once the lid is on, the UV resin nozzle no longer fits. To get around this issue, I draw some UV resin into a blunt tip syringe. I then inject the final layer of resin. Once the last layer has been injected, I blast it to cure the UV resin. With the dice out of the mold, I trim the sprue and any extra bits of resin with a pair of flush cutters. With all the extra bits of resin removed, I give this dice one last UV cure. After curing the dice, I quickly inspected it and was pleasantly surprised at the surface finish. It's not 100% perfect, but I'm happy with it. The flush cutters did an excellent job at removing most of the extra resin, however there's still some spots that need to be cleaned up. To fix this, I lay out a sheet of glass and a piece of 2000 grit wet dry sandpaper. I then spray everything down with some good high quality H2O. The water helps to extend the life of the sandpaper as well as keeps any dust from getting airborne. The sandpaper did a wonderful job of smoothing everything out, but it leaves the surface dull. To bring back the shine, I'll be using Meguiar's Ultimate Compound. I add a generous amount to the dice and buff it using a microfiber towel. I then finish it off using Meguiar's Scratch X 2.0. With the dice polished to a high gloss, I can finally start to ink the numbers. I toyed around with a few different color options, but in the end, I knew I just had to go with Ribanator Gold. Ribanator, hit me up. And with the last number painted, this project is done.
So, as you just saw, I was only able to make one dice, but to play a campaign, you need a set of 7. So, if this video does well, I'll start working on the other 6, each with their own unique element. And trust me, you're gonna wanna see them. But with that being said, hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did, I'd really appreciate it if you guys would like, comment, share, and subscribe. Also, check out some of my other videos. That'll do it for this one, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!